Uh-oh. Ah, ah, ah. Uh-oh.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Home and podcast time.
That's right. Binford Tools is proud to present a Home Improvement Podcast. My name is Adam Yola, my co-host Jordan. Morning, Jordan.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
What's the story, Morning Glory?
Did you ever see that movie, Morning Glory?
I watched it like 3 months ago.
Really? What'd you think?
You know, it's fine. It's very, very okay. Harrison Ford's kind of fun in it.
It's a feel good. It's
You've
a feel
seen it?
good romp. Yeah, I've seen it a couple times.
A couple times. You know, there's some big movies that you have yet to see, but you've made time to see Morning Glory at least 2 times.
Well, I'm sure the first time Andrea saw it and was like, "We're gonna watch this," and the second time, well, that was just for me.
Oh, that one. Yeah, sometimes you gotta do it just for yourself. Well, I'm thinking it's like a 6 out of 10, Morning Glory.
That's okay. I think.
Welcome to Glorecast, each week covering a different minute of Morning Glory.
Boy, that would be excruciating. Yeah, I didn't expect to talk about that. But how are you doing this morning?
Doing well, Jordan. Happy to be here talking home improvement with one of my favorite people.
One of? I'm not your favorite.
Vanity, my favorite sin.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a pleasure. And this episode, boy, whew, we'll get into it, but
Talk
it's
about
certainly...
pleasure.
Talk about pleasure. You know, something else that we've taken pleasure in the past is different podcasts that talk about true crime, like Serial. Mm-hmm. I don't know if our audience has ever heard of Serial, but... and one thing that you texted me with yesterday without really a lot of explanation was opening banter... things that happen
Stream
on
of consciousness text.
Opening banter, things that happen on Home Improvement that could be made into true crime podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's what we're going to talk about to start the show.
Okay.
So the way I took it was, these are things that happened on the show.
Yes.
That, you know, somebody could... Basically, they should be in trouble for, never got in trouble for, probably, because it's a sitcom. But we're going to really dive deep into actually what happened, and if it could be turned into a podcast of sorts to really figure out the ins and outs and who's at fault.
I think we're more or less on the same page. Your
Okay.
explanation seems a little more complex than what I was thinking. But yeah, basically just like if Home Improvement was like in the real world, what happens on the show that could be turned into a true crime podcast. So yeah, I think we're pretty much there.
Cool. So I mean, I wrote down a lot just because...
Oh, I only wrote down 3.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm guessing this came to you from the last episode that we covered where Mark decapitates his parents. Is that kind of the first thing that we were starting with here? Or?
Actually, this is an idea I've been thinking about for a while. It's mostly just been, I was thinking about like riffing on true crime podcasts because like even like really bad true crime podcasts are still infinitely more popular than we are. Like even the ones that don't sound good and you can't hear people are like, they still get way more downloads than us. So I just thought it would be funny to try to capitalize on that in some way. So that was kind of where this idea.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
It's just a really popular thing right now. I mean, Home Improvement's really popular right now. Don't get me wrong, but true crime is kind of
it's
dwarfing.
right up there.
Yeah.
It's like if you look at the downloads for entertainment, it's like Office Ladies, Conan, whatever true crime podcast, and then us. So 4.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And then at the bottom, grunt work. I got a year left. I'm starting trouble.
There's Adam's weekly shot to another
enemies.
podcast.
Yeah, the freaking grunt work. Okay, yeah. So I only have 3. Maybe you should narrow yours down a little bit, but
I might just try to talk about ones you don't talk about.
Okay, all right. Would you want me to start or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I don't know which one to start with. Sure, this is one. All right. So it's a podcast about 2 children that went missing from suburban Detroit in the early 90s, and it's called The Missing McGurns.
Because I mean they're there for like 4 episodes or whatever, and then we never hear about them.
As far as I'm concerned, they were kidnapped or taken somewhere, or something really tragic happened, and they never came back. They were a fixture. You get into sort of, you start with the parents, obviously. Whenever kids go missing, you start with the parents, start with the home life. McGurns were bullies, so probably a tragic home life, or maybe things weren't so great at home. You kind of talk about that. You kind of get into the bullying. You talk to some of the peers, and then you try to piece together sort of what happened in those final days. So I think that would be pretty popular, and it would be called Missing McGurns or McGurns. Where'd you go? Something like that.
But
McGurns,
you have to.
Where'd you go? Yeah.
You have to read it like that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think yours are going to be much better than mine.
Okay.
Just based on that premise that you gave there. Mm-hmm. That is like an actual mystery. I feel like mine are not really mysteries so much as like.
Well, hey Jordan, I'll tell you if they're good or bad. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
My first one, I guess, after I'm going to binge all of that McGurn podcast, but then I'm going to listen to. I don't have a title for this one. But maybe I just came up with one. It's going to be Malaria Madness, and it's going to be centered around how a Tool Expo went awry when a famous tool man unleashed a swarm of mosquitoes.
That's pretty good.
On unsuspecting crowd and various ailments that they got. Malaria. People died. Yeah. It started off an epidemic as more people got infected as well. So, you got to we got to figure out like who's actually at fault. Is it the people who brought the mosquitoes and thought that like hiding them in their little, I don't know what they were in, like a glass cage or something, was a good idea? Yeah. Is it Tim for knocking them over? There's some negligence at play here, and we got to figure out who's in trouble.
I think it's a good idea, and it might be one of those things where you're not ever, you spend the whole podcast wondering who's at fault, and you get to the end, and it's kind of up to you to decide. Because maybe no one's at fault. Maybe everyone's equally at fault. I like
especially
that.
Those people who came to Expo Hall with Tim Taylor in it.
And bringing the mosquitoes there was an issue, obviously. I like that. How many episodes do you think that goes?
I think just 8. It's not. It's like season 1. It's not. I
think
like
you're
gonna
have a hard time getting 4.
Well, we turn these 20-minute episodes into an hour every week, so it's kind of amazing what people can do. Or maybe they're just like 5-minute episodes.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah. All right, my next one. I don't really have a title yet, but maybe I'll come up with one as we talk about it. This is a high-level investigatory. Is that a word? Yeah, sure. Investigatory podcast focusing on corruption in suburban Detroit, specifically Binford's pollutant record.
Oh, man, I was thinking about that one. I like it.
Yeah, so... we covered that episode pretty recently, and Binford's record is not so sterling. They're buying credits, and they got a 10-year plan, and things are not exactly above board.
Let's just say they're not breaking the law. That's what they say, but
that's true. Yeah.
Is that one called like "There's Something in the Water"?
That might actually be a real podcast title, though. Probably about Flint or something. Probably about our homestead, more or less.
Yeah.
Probably you'd call it...
Something in the air?
Something in the air tonight. There's something in the air tonight. And then it's like you Photoshop Mamma Mia. People, no. It might be called Binford Bad Boys. I think probably is the title I'm going to go with.
It works on a second level because you like the Pistons Bad Boys, and they're in Detroit, so...
I think you could easily get 12 episodes out of that.
I would say.
Okay. That's my second idea.
All right. I mentioned the Mark killing his parents thing. Like, I'm not sure if that's a one or not, because the way that they take it in this, show is obviously it didn't happen, but they did it anyway.
Well, don't spoil too much, but yeah, they are not dead in this episode. So
definitely spoiled it. So I kind of want to skip over that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to do one that has to do with a little bit of the military.
Oh, man. This is one of mine.
Yeah. And this again is kind of a who's at fault here, but we've got We've got again an accident-prone tool host who is being invited to the Navy and many different branches of the military and blowing up certain things and running over certain things and wasting lots of taxpayer money. That seems like a good one to go down. What would that one be called?
Well, you're talking specifically about the episode where Tim and Jill go to the Air Force Base and Tim just like lets loose because he's playing around with things, right?
There's another one that's like that though, isn't there too? Well, whatever. Yes,
I'm talking about. It's like they're in the desert and
There's one that's called At Sea.
Okay, I'm talking about the one where they do the tank race and Jill beats him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tanks for the memories.
That's probably it. I would call it Air Force None.
I would call it dishonorably discharged or something like that.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I it's funny we both came up with that. Yeah, for me, it's like a Serial season 2 Bo Bergdahl kind of story.
Yeah.
Serial season 2, everybody's favorite season of Serial. Two times as good as one. I think people were saying at the time, and it's just focusing on Tim's. I mean, it was only like 30 seconds, but he caused a lot of damage and really set back the military. And I would argue that we've never really gotten back to where we were before that.
And he didn't get in trouble at all.
No repercussions. No.
Was there some sort of
you get into privilege.
And behind the scenes pardon going on. Just
pardon
me. There's some back channel communications that we just don't know about. I think
it's a 6-episode podcast. That's all you're getting out of that. That's my weakest one. But that's all I got. So I think probably Missing McGurns is the best one for me.
What was your second one?
Pollutants at Binford.
The Pollutants.
Yeah.
I mean, here's some other candidates that I have.
All right.
One was blowing up Benny's house. Or Benny's whoever's house that was.
Benny's grandma's house or something?
Because are we sure that Benny wasn't just a squatter?
We are not sure, yeah.
And then obviously they blew up the house. I bet you that affected some of the neighbors. Nader, Ralph Nader. That affected him for sure.
He's back.
So there's a lot of angles to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Tim being in trouble for doing that. The other one that I had was, there's got to be one with like Brad and his brick throwing days.
That was the first idea I came up with, but I couldn't really spin it into anything that interesting. But yeah, I had that thought as well. Like, I don't know, but I don't know.
And there was the hit and run. I don't know. There's got to be something there. There's got to be something there.
Hit and run. I mean, he got that's kind of misleading. I mean, he got rear-ended, and the guy tried to extort him. You make it sound like Brad, like it's like I know what you did last summer or something. They hit a fisherman and roll him over a cliff.
I think it's all connected. If you start putting the dots on the map, you're going to find some interesting connections.
Conspiratorial. Yeah, I like it.
And I almost wonder if there can be an episode. This would be a 1-episode podcast.
That's fine. Most podcasts only go an episode because people realize it sucks.
It would be called The Karate Kid, and it would be about Mark, and it's when he beats up that guy, and who's really in trouble there. Where did Mark actually learn all these moves? Is there something insidious going on here? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
those were my bad ideas.
They're not that bad. You could do one about Mark getting glasses.
I was scrolling through some of our episodes yesterday, and I saw that picture, and it was like, wow. From that to goth.
It's called Det Spindo. I don't know what the show is, but you start with the glasses, you kind of work your way back. I mean, yeah.
That shirt that he wore in that episode also was a crime, so.
Crimes against Mark. I don't know. Yeah, I got nothing. A marked man. Jordan, that was fun.
It was fun. I had a good time.
It wasn't that hard either, which was also very good.
Look for a very chilling blog post coming out soon.
Yeah, I have some questions on that, but we'll talk about that off air.
All right. So we'll talk about the episode now, which is episode 157, The Niece.
Why the pause?
Sorry, my nose was all stuffed up.
I thought you were trying to be dramatic, like people didn't necessarily know where we were.
Get ready for The Niece.
Episode 157, which we all know is called...
Everyone's talking about...
Everyone's favorite episode with Wilson's niece is aptly called The Niece.
The Niece.
Tuesdays on Fox.
I hope they don't make this into a series. All right, this one's written by Charlie Hawk. He lasted...
Yeah, go
He
ahead.
last did a funny Valentine, and boy, was that funny.
Can't remember. Don't know.
It was with that singer.
You still got a cold, huh, Jordan? What is it?
It's not a cold.
What is it now?
I think I might be moving because this state is killing me.
You should. Yeah, it does. It is becoming a problem. Yeah.
I would say 3 months is enough. All right.
Yeah.
Aired November 4th, 1997. Alternative title time.
I mean, how do you beat the niece? It's so clever.
It is very clever. I tried to beat it. I'm not sure I did.
Want to know the funny thing about niece is? I guess I can't spell it right because I wrote Neice about 1,000 times on my paper.
Niece.
Niece. All right. I have 4.
Okay, go ahead.
Helium and house guests. Oh yeah, I forgot to say mine suck.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think people could tell after that one. Family over everything.
FOE, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that? Oh, yeah. Ren Fair. More like unfair. I don't know. Whatever, who cares?
First, I was like, what are you saying Ren Fair for? I thought you were somebody's last name or something. No, but I get it now. How about too much of a good thing?
Yours are lacking
Any sort of
too
mustard.
much imagination. This nieces left my life in pieces.
You're not allowed to insult me when you do that. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. Wait till my last one.
All right. My next one is Saginaw Cheesin'.
Not bad. All right, my last one is Catman, do you want to stay with me?
All right, you're going to have to let me know if this is a popular phrase or not, or if I have only... Like, this is just something that happens in my circle. Okay?
What's your circle? You, Andrew,
I just
and your
feel
daughter?
I feel like I've heard my dad and other people say this.
Okay.
Like, an older generation.
Really looking forward to this. Yep.
Hippy dippy love.
Not a thing. Nope.
Okay. Well,
Nope.
it is now.
Hippy dippy love. No, I don't think so, but it could be. Yeah, could be.
I mean, we don't know everything, but...
No, we don't. No, we don't. But, yeah.
But we
All
do
right.
know a lot about this episode after watching it about 2 days ago.
Yeah, I know quite a bit about it. I know as much as most people that have watched it once.
Probably more.
Yeah, a little bit more, maybe.
All right. We're going to open at home, which is different. You know, we've got a lot more of opening at home than Tool Time, I feel like, lately.
I would argue this season has been the least we've seen Tool Time of all the seasons.
Well, luckily we get some in this episode. Or maybe not luckily.
Yeah, it's
depending on how
whatever.
you feel.
Yeah, depends.
All right. The family's setting up for Wilson's birthday. They're going to do a surprise birthday party for him. And they've got, like, the most clutch guest. And that's Albert Einstein's...
So clutch.
So clutch. Albert Einstein's nephew, who apparently is a big friend for Wilson. Best, but the actual best guess. And
Jordan,
the most...
say his name.
Oh, I don't, was it like Corky or something?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Corky Einstein.
Corky Romano?
Oh man, that muff. I don't know what's better, this episode or Corky Romano. Ooh.
Corky Romano, easily.
Tied. It's because it's got Columbo in it. He
does.
Just one more thing.
He does make an amazing appearance. I will say that.
He does. Yeah.
All right, so the actual clutch guest is Wilson's niece and her car, which was Wilson's dad's car. I forget the year, but it's a Studebaker.
I'm gonna say 58. I feel like
It's 53, actually. I see down in my notes later.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So that's close. Lots of helium jokes here, as you alluded to in your great alternative title, Helium and House Guests. Tim's going to fix up the Studebaker. Wilson's mom can't make it because she's storm chasing. I don't know if that's funny
Wilson's
or not.
mom has got to be pretty old.
I was thinking that myself. Is she like 75, 80?
Storm chasing. Yeah, I don't. They made that. I don't know. It's like one of those things where it's not that. Is that so weird? Like,
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's
it
not
wasn't
weird
wild enough to
It's
be
not like
Wilson's
she's
mom.
a rodeo clown or something. Like I would get that joke. But
Oh.
like she's storm chasing. Like okay,
Rodeo clown. What a missed opportunity.
I mean, Bill Paxton storm chasing in Twister, and that wasn't so funny, was it?
No way. Ask the cow.
I will. It's funny, he actually just left, unfortunately. But, yeah.
All right, Brad comes in with a giant photo of Wilson as a kid, and guess what?
Yeah.
His face is hidden behind a cake.
It's kind of funny. I mean,
That was the best part of this opening scene. Or well,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? I think I like the helium stuff. I don't know why, but
yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one, pal. The jokes are coming fast and furious. Tokyo Drift
yeah.
in this scene. I mean, you got helium, Corky Einstein. Mark.
just kind of like the general Studebaker is more important than the person
Yeah,
joke.
the only one that works for me is
Cake.
is the photo at the end. I would say I also noticed in this scene, Mark's looking a little less goth in this episode. They kind of
Yeah,
toned
what's
it
the
down.
deal? Yeah, he went overboard last episode.
They're
so.
like, all right, the video was a little weird. Just tone it down. Yeah, it's fine. That's my opinion. That's it.
And you're sticking to it.
That's it. Next scene. Home. Niece arrives, and her name is Willow. And
Yeah, but what's her middle names?
Is it Willow? Probably.
No, Willow Branch Leaf Wilson.
I thought that was a joke. Whatever. Yeah, I didn't write it down. She is. I'll do her bio in a little bit, but she's. I guess you would categorize her as a hippie.
Hippie-ish is what I wrote.
Hippy dippy is what you wrote.
Hippy dippy love.
Hippy dippy doodah. She's young. I don't know how young necessarily. Probably college age. I think you're supposed to think, but she's got the voice of a woman that's been smoking for about 75 years. You can tell she's already lived kind of hard, and we'll talk about that in a second when we get into her bio. But she's got a Natasha Lyonne vibe. Do you know who she is from like Orange is the New Black? She actually reminds. She looks like her and she sounds like her a little bit. I'm not gonna have you look her up, but
Is it her?
it's not her. No, but it's very it bears a strong resemblance in a
So
lot
you're
of ways to
saying
her.
that character in Orange is the New Black got it from Willow Wilson?
I'm saying Natasha Lyonne in the mid '90s stole China Cantor's vibe. And
I gotta say, like, if I'm gonna start writing these articles that are like clickbaity,
yeah,
that would be a good one.
I don't want Natasha Lyonne fans coming at us though. That's trouble. I have a lot of respect for her and her Netflix show Russian Doll. So we're not going down that rabbit hole.
All right.
A hippie type, German philosophy major, a masseuse. There's a lot of jokes about like, why are you a masseuse? And it's like, I mean, the subtext is because you can't do anything with a German philosophy degree, which is fair. All the boys are pretty much smitten with her, I would say. Maybe not Mark, but the other two seem to be, even though...
Mark is only smitten with Lady Death, so...
Lady Death. With, I don't know, Lucifer's lady. I don't think so, no, wife.
You could have just left it at Lady Death, man.
Kat Von Teese.
You didn't have to try to one-up me.
Marilyn Manson's wife. Brad
certainly is smitten.
He's single. He's
He's out on the prowl.
He's on the prowl. Scene kind of ends. This is mind you, this is pre-cell phone. I love when people say that. She gave her phone number. She gave the Taylor's phone number to a lot of like potential suitors or whatever, and she's getting a lot of calls,
especially from Sergey.
Yeah. I'll do a bio of her right now. So, China Cantor. Born, 71. She'd have been about 25, 26, which is good. Which is good. What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Which is accurate, I think. Which
is accurate. 14 credits to her name. She's going to be in 5 episodes of Home Improvement, which is we'll talk about if that's a good thing or not at the end of the episode. Other credits include Airheads, which is a movie that I've seen a lot that I don't like. The Stoned Age, she plays Jill, and LA Firefighters. So the interesting thing about her is that she's the daughter of 2 Jefferson Airplane members, Paul Cantor and Grace Slick. Jefferson Airplane, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but pretty popular band in the 70s, 80s, some really good songs. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she lived that rock and roll life, and I think that is in keeping with her performance here. She was also a VJ on MTV in the late '80s as well. So when people were doing that,
those were the days.
Pauly Shore, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about her performance later, but interesting career. Yeah, I would say she definitely just took, that experience with Jefferson Airplane and that lifestyle and just kind of played it up here.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it was. I was surprised to see that. That's kind of a cool little note. But yeah, carrying on. I mean, yeah, I don't want to. We'll wait on what I have to
Party
say about
time.
everything. Yeah, in time.
You want to talk about parties?
Yeah.
Party time. Lots of interesting guests here. So I was just trying to take in some of the apparel of the guests here. So we've got like cowboy hats, some Native American garb, a woman with a sari, just all sorts of cultures and backgrounds are represented here. And Tim calls Wilson to try to get help for his car. That's how he's going to get him over. Make some excuses about like why Jill and the boys can't help or whatever. Willow, as you mentioned earlier, being chased around by many suitors, including Brad and Randy. They're kind of chatting it up with her right now and talking about Sergei's relationship, how it was outwardly passionate but inwardly poor, and the boys are trying to seem older to. I wonder what Lauren would think.
I know. I was wondering that too. Jeez, was she chopped liver?
Jeez. All right, Wilson arrives. The lights are out. So weird. He comes in and this is completely normal. Like, what did Tim do? And they turn on the lights. Wilson's very excited. It's touching, I would say. Tim drags him to the garage after he meets with a few people because there's something very important in there. And Wilson pretty quickly recognizes his dad's car, the 53 Studebaker, and pretty happy about that. But then when Willow pops up in the driver's seat, wow, he is over the moon, I would say. Mm-hmm. And Tim, as he is wont to do, is more interested in the car and wants to talk about the car. But Wilson ushers Willow back into the party where they need to catch up because he hasn't seen her in years.
Did someone say usher? Yeah. Yeah, that's the end of the scene. Two things. Have we talked about surprise birthday parties before?
I mean, maybe because Jill had one, but go on. Or Jill, somebody else had one before. I don't know.
We probably have. You ever been to one? You ever had one?
I remember Andrea throwing like a surprise welcome back party for me when I came back from Florida from an internship.
Yeah, guess I missed the invite on that one, huh?
Yeah, you were. You probably had bigger fish to fry.
Okay, babe.
The problem with that was that I somehow found out ahead of time. So
yeah.
So
someone texted you and was like, "What time should I come over?"
It wasn't as much of a surprise as it could have been. But yeah, I don't. I've been to a couple of like surprise-ish things, but they weren't birthday parties. Okay. They were like engagements or something like that.
A surprise engagement. The couple didn't know they were engaged. Wow, that's hard to figure.
It was like the person wanted to get engaged, and they wanted to do it with like the help from all of her local family and friends and stuff. So
who is this?
You don't know them.
Okay. That's interesting. The engagement with a bunch of people around. Not for me. My parents threw me a surprise birthday party. I think I turned 16, and I was legitimately surprised. It was with my family.
Where was I?
It was with my family.
Where was I?
You are not my family. You are not my family? No, sorry. It was with my blood family. You're like a brother, but you're not actually a brother.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was fun. I don't know. I was surprised. I hope that's the only one that I ever have, though.
Yeah,
I don't want to be surprised.
You're not a big surprise guy.
Not really. No, not particularly. But
Me
it
neither.
was good. It was good. It was a good experience then, and they got me. I'm much smarter now. I would be surprised. I mean, I don't think anyone could actually surprise me with a birthday party at this point. But
it would have been better if I were there, though, right?
I honestly am not sure. Hard to say.
You think it would have made it about me?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I know how you are. You get around a group of people, you just kind of try to become you become the greatest showman.
I turn on the charm. Yeah, I start acting up a little bit.
Around. You pick up a piece of food. You start flipping it around. Whoa! It's raining hot dogs.
I do a lot of food gags.
I know, and it's wasteful.
Well, I never let them drop.
You have before.
No. Absolutely not. Do not sully my name like that.
No hot dog left behind, right? Yeah. Okay.
All right. Later the party's winding down.
I have another thing, sorry.
Oh, okay.
What do you think of the Willow-Wilson relationship? It's a little weird, right?
Why?
I don't know. He seems weird. Why is he? He seems to like really, really be happy that she's there. Like, I've never heard of an uncle and a niece being so close. I guess he's just so lonely.
I think for Wilson, he doesn't have a lot of family. He doesn't see his family very often.
Yeah.
And it seems like they had seen each other more growing up because they seem to have a pretty good relationship. So in that case, I feel like it's not that weird.
All right. Carry on then. Is it my turn? I guess
I think it is your turn.
All right. Party inside. I think this is post-party, actually. The ladies are chatting while the men clean up, which is what you'd call a 90s subversion. Whoa. No one wants
commissars.
Oh, man, this is when those female writers, they got their claws into Jill, and the show was never the same.
Before you go too far in the scene, better party, Wilson's party or Aaron's party?
Aaron's party, come get it?
Yeah.
Man, that's a good question. That's a better question than you know. Okay, I'm going to say Wilson's party for two reasons. First reason is, at Aaron's party, two guys came in that Aaron didn't recognize, and that kind of was...
You don't like that. Wilson seemed to know everyone there.
Indeed, yes. And then second thing is, Aaron's party was like really broken up when his parents came home early. Grounded, if you'll recall.
Yeah.
But Wilson's party seemed to come to sort of a natural conclusion. So,
and no one got in trouble.
Party. Not that we saw, but Rolf seemed like he was up to no good.
As always.
Typical Rolf. Okay. Good question. Great question. In fact, no one wants to join them. Tim really wants to show off this car. This is a continual gag. He can't understand why Wilson, really anyone, isn't interested in the Studebaker. Because that's his... Am I correct in saying that his gift to Wilson is he going to fix up the Studebaker?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was getting the Studebaker first and then fixing it up so he can have it.
Seems like it's kind of fixed up already, but I'm not a car guy, so...
Not on the inside.
Willow and Jill are having a heart-to-heart. Willow, she wants some permanence. She's just jumping from place to place, and she really is looking for a family, or so she says. And Jill kind of plants the seed that maybe she should stay with Wilson, and... It's fine, whatever. But I did notice behind... Wilson must have gotten a blowfish for his birthday. Did you notice that?
I did not notice that.
It was like a puffer fish or something. It was like a... what do you call it? I
know what you're talking about.
Not taxidermy, but they had done something with that. It was interesting. Willow is not easy to live with, she says, but she's going to go out and give it a try. And then we get some more helium jokes, so... Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Your favorite.
Willow makes a call here. Wilson's talking about the party while this happens. He said, he's kind of having a heart-to-heart with Jill at this point, so she's obviously doing her little meddling thing. This is what she does. She likes to get into people's business.
She does, yeah, she does.
So, Wilson talks about, it's so hard to say goodbye to all these people that I genuinely care about, especially Willow. Jill thinks, you know what, maybe there's a little something we could do here. Maybe Willow can stay with you. She's looking to put down some roots, no pun intended. And Wilson's a bit skeptical, why would such a vibrant young woman want to live with her boring uncle? I guess a good question. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, yeah.
Wilson, phone call's over. Wilson kind of takes Jill's lead here and says, I'll take you to the airport in the morning unless you want to stay. She gets the old tiki room, which I think we all want.
Yeah, agreed.
And you know what? Willow's in. And then you mentioned earlier about the Studebaker stuff. Tim is trying the Studebaker again. Wilson takes Willow to settle in right away, so he's just... just denied again, unfortunately for him. Tim says, who needs family when you got Studebaker? And is kind of like not that excited about this because I think he's going to lose his best friend, he thinks, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what he's thinking, but Willow comes in to thank Jill, and then Tim finds out this was Jill's idea all along.
I guess I skipped a lot at the end of that scene.
You did, but I filled it in. And then we get more helium jokes, as you mentioned.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I guess my notes were lacking. All right, tool time. We got George Sparky Anderson back.
Second time?
Yeah, we haven't seen this guy in a while. I can't tell you. Well, I can tell you if I look it up, but
You're not going to.
I'm gonna. No, he's a classic car expert. Tim, and Al, they end up like watching a video of classic cars. What's the joke here?
I think, well, at first he's talking about, like, what makes a car classic, and they say, like, it's older, and it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, and it's terrible for the environment, and they're like, why would anybody want one?
Yeah.
Because they're cool and works of art. And so they start looking at the video. I thought it was funny. They bring out, like, this really small, like, poor pictured TV.
Yeah, like anybody could see it.
I don't think anyone in the audience could see that TV.
I know. Yeah. He appeared in The Toolman Delivers the year before. I felt like it had been longer. He's going to be in 6 episodes. That's great. It's funny these people that you don't know are going to be in like more than 5 episodes.
I remember him, so I'm not that surprised by that. But I was surprised. I felt like it was a while since we saw him too. But yeah, the joke I guess here with this like TV scene is like they're doing lots of puns.
Yeah, Al's doing like Al Camino, Al Dorado, stuff like that. It's not really that funny, but
no. But then Tim puts the scenario to Sparky of like, who would you spend more time with, the niece or like the car? And Sparky says nothing's more important than family. Tim's pretty upset.
Tim was surprised.
Yeah, Tim's kind of an idiot. And they talk about their new sponsor, Saginaw Cheese.
Yeah, Saginaw Cheese. What's the tagline on that? Wait, we are getting lazy. Fair enough. We will get more Saginaw Cheese later. Home. Boys are hanging out. Talking about Willow. Brad's wearing a ton of cologne. He's trying to impress her.
It's not a good cologne either, from the sound.
It's Sex Panther from Anchorman. 70% of the time it works every time. Wilson and Willow, things are going well. They're bonding. They are really, they're keeping busy. They're going to a lot of events.
They're making up for lost time.
Yeah, it's kind of like the kid Wilson never had. That's all I got.
Could have been an alternative title, I guess.
Yeah. That's how I end. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that there's more to the scene.
I mean, Jill walks in and is like, okay, there's a joke that Brad smells like vacuuming, which is like, does vacuuming have a smell? Because Jill walks in and is like, oh, who vacuumed?
Well,
so I was a little confused by that because we separate our chores here at my house, and I am the vacuumer, and I've never smelled anything.
I feel like you can.
Am I not doing it right?
You are doing it wrong. I think that you can maybe smell like something a little different, but mostly I think it's you have a carpeted floor.
Okay.
In this case, they don't. I think they have hardwood, so I'm not sure. Hey, maybe it's just so dirty in there.
Hey, Jordan, we got hardwood as well, so
maybe that's the problem.
Half and half.
Half and halvesy.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I think there's also, at the end of the scene, putting the vacuuming aside, which I know is a big thing to kind of put to the side here. But Tim is now like on the same page as everyone. He thinks family is very important, and he wants to go and tell Wilson about it. Basically, like that's how they end the scene.
That he wants to tell Wilson that family's important.
He wants to tell Wilson that he's like on the same page and he's happy for him. Basically,
Tim is like in his own head about a conflict that isn't actually there.
Exactly.
Like there's no problem. It's just yeah. I guess I don't know.
No problem, just rush hour.
No problem, just do Studebaker. Yeah.
All right. Tim does go outside. Tim does talk to Wilson, and we will play a clip.
I think he talks to Willow, doesn't he?
Hey, Wilson.
He's out getting his costume for the Renaissance fair we're going to tonight.
Hi, Willow. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, so did the Ethiopian puppet show and karaoke night at the VFW.
I've been to the VFW thing with him, yeah. Nothing quite like 2 retired admirals singing Muskrat Love.
Well, maybe next time you can go in my place. I'm, going back to Chicago tomorrow.
Oh. What's Wilson think about that?
He doesn't know yet. I figured I'd wait till after the Renaissance fair to tell him. I'm afraid bad news might affect his jousting.
What happened? You guys were having so much fun together.
We were at first, but now I'm feeling smothered. He wants to be with me every minute of every day. It's too much for me.
Well, have you tried talking to him about it?
No, it wouldn't do any good. Men in my family are very controlling.
Well, it doesn't seem right to skip out on the guy, though.
I don't think I have a choice. I believe it's the Bhagavad Gita that says, a bird can only soar if the sky has no bounds.
Oh, yeah, I can see it, yeah.
I'm sure you can understand how being so confined invalidates me, how it negates the very core of my being.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The heart goes. Yeah.
See, you do understand.
Oh, yeah, perfectly.
Why can't Uncle Wilson be like you? You know, you take in everything and then with a wise, knowing grunt, you convey your empathy.
Well, it's just something I do naturally, yeah. I like that.
If only every man was as evolved as you.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, isn't it? Yes, it is, yeah.
It's Willow, not Wilson, Jordan. Ay, egg on your face.
That's embarrassing.
Epic fail.
No wonder people are flocking to Grunt Work.
Hey, don't give them too many plugs. They're gonna start to flub.
I think rising tides lift all boats, in the home improvement world.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, alternative titles, that was definitely something they came up with on their own. Not having fun with Wilson. She is, I don't know how long she's been staying with him necessarily, but, we've gotten the idea that she's been having a really good time, or that they've been having a really good time, but in fact, she's not having too much fun. He's smothering her, Jordan, and she's going to bail, which is pretty...
She's going to ghost him.
She is going to ghost Wilson, which is savage and cold, she's probably a little too old to be doing this. She's going to bail. Her and Tim have kind of a heart-to-heart. She, for whatever reason, she finds Tim to be kind of evolved because he just sort of agrees with her. I don't think he actually agrees with her, but he's just like listening and kind of grunting, and she responds to that. And I guess the joke is that she finds Tim evolved. Feels like she's flirting a little bit with Tim here.
It does feel like that. I got that too.
Yeah. For just the briefest of seconds, I thought, is that where this is going? Which would have been pretty cool.
It would have been quite the turn for like how late it is in the episode.
I know,
sure.
It would have been awesome though.
Eye on Tim Part 2.
Eyes on Tim.
Yeah. What if you mentioned that like you don't know how long Willow has been there. What if Willow has been there for like a couple weeks and Tim is now just coming to realize that like family's important?
Tim's just been stewing over the Studebaker,
which
would have been a good title, but yeah, that would have been funny.
No.
All right, next scene.
Later inside, Tim tells Jill the news that Willow's going to be ghosting, but also that he's evolved. So he's kind of like...
Tim is kind of a ghost buster, because he's trying to stop her from leaving. Busting makes Tim feel good.
It's a bittersweet moment. Wilson comes all in. He's dressed for the fair, so this is like the most we've ever seen his face, because all he's got on really is a beard to hide his face.
I agree, yeah. We actually got quite a bit of Wilson's face in this one. I mean, not actually, but yeah, more than usual.
Yeah, so he's got an hour to kill. He says, let's look at the car now. In the garage, Tim is trying to gently break the news. I guess it's not really his place, but if Willow's just going to ghost him, he's got to step up. I don't know. It's a gray area.
I guess.
It's a gray area.
Tim really, he spills the beans pretty quickly.
Well, he doesn't want to waste any time. It sounds like
Willow's
we're at 19 leaving minutes. In the morning.
We're at 19 minutes in the episode, so
you can't waste any time, literally. Yeah. All right. Wilson says, you're acting very odd. He adjusts his codpiece, and we're going to get a few jokes out of that. Mileage may vary.
Indeed. Yeah.
He basically says, talk to Willow. She's feeling smothered. And guess who knocks on the door? It is Willow. She's in a very happy mood and kind of playing it all off, and she's playing Mrs. Gutenberg. Ha ha ha. Wilson's mood is somber, though. She knows something's up. And she tries to explain. They have a very Wilson W. Wilson Jr. conversation to each other. Mm-hmm. They're quoting famous people back and forth, novelists and whoever else, talking about the appreciation of freedom. And Wilson's is coming to understand what she's talking about through these quotes. And then he kind of parries back with a quote from the Bible about not being alone. Tim wanting to get in on the action quotes Dean Martin. Pretty funny, actually, to me. And Wilson's like, can you give me a second chance? I'm new at this. And she heartily agrees pretty quickly. So that's why we're getting 5 more episodes of her.
Right. Fantastic. Yeah, I don't know about all that. But final scene. Another Saginaw Cheese promo.
Yep, they're pumping up Saginaw Cheese as much as they can. So
Yeah.
I wonder how much Saginaw Cheese is paying for this.
Big Cheese got deep pockets. Roll credits, fade to black. The niece, a.k.a. Catman, do you want to stay at my place?
Hippy dippy love.
Jordan, what is this, Castle's Corner?
Don't act like you don't know what it is.
Give me your highs and lows.
Highs. The helium literally, lifts you up a little bit, so that's a high. I don't know. I will say overall I didn't really enjoy this episode that much. I don't think it's terribly interesting. I did get kind of like a little bit of a laugh about Brad trying so hard to impress her. We didn't get a lot of that. I wish there were more of him like getting shut down, but that didn't happen so much. It's it's trying to be kind of a more heartwarming episode, so I don't feel like they have a lot of jokes, which is I guess why they played up the Saginaw Cheese stuff so much, which I think is not that funny. So
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have a lot of highs in this episode. At least where it goes for. I do like the end scene where they're kind of like going back and forth in quotes. I thought that was a pretty good one, and I liked that Tim. He feels evolved and kind of his reaction to that. I think he's just kind of funny in this episode, being like kind of oblivious to everything. But Willow isn't that interesting to me. And kind of their relationship isn't that interesting. So an episode centered around her mostly, it just doesn't do a lot for me. The classic car jokes weren't particularly funny, and Al's puns. I just feel like we're not using Al at all.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird.
So I don't love that. And we get no Mark Goth story, and I'm looking for a continuation of that.
He actually
every
steps
week.
back from the goth.
Yeah.
He's less goth.
Without any explanation.
Without any explanation. Yeah, how'd that video go? We don't even know.
Yeah, cliffhanger. Yeah, it's not a real strong episode, and not something I'm gonna be. It won't be in my top 3 at the end of the season.
Hey, spoiler. Yeah, I found this one pretty boring, actually. Highs, that Wilson. I guess the Wilson birthday party is somewhat amusing. Real potpourri of characters, including Corky, Einstein, and Rolf. I mean, you get Rolf and Corky together, no telling what's going to happen. And the joke with the photo is sort of funny. That's kind of where my highs end. Lows, yeah, no disrespect to the Willow performance. I just don't find the character that interesting at all. She's going to bail on him kind of unprovoked, which is, I guess, lousy. And I don't know if that's a mark against the episode or just me not liking that someone would do that. The conclusion is sort of like really streamlined in a way where it's like, hey, I was going to leave, but you're going to agree that you're going to be a little less smothering. Well, I guess I'll stay. Maybe a little bit more complex than that. Nobody has anything to do except for Wilson and Willow. Tim to a small extent, but I don't know that the Studebaker stuff is that funny. So yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really like this one. Didn't do much for me. So
there you go, the niece. This is probably, I don't know, we're like 7 episodes into the season, and probably our least favorite episode.
Yeah, definitely.
But honestly, season 7 so far has been pretty good. So.
Pretty good. This episode is funny. We don't pay a lot of attention or talk about the IMDb ratings, but this episode is a 6.6 on IMDb, which is like in the bottom 7% of all episodes. So people don't really like this one either.
So maybe the niece has nowhere to go but up.
That's true. Yeah.
We hope so. All right, let's move on to social media. If you'd like to reach out to us, go to the Home and Podcast, Twitter and Facebook. We're at Home and Podcast. We're on YouTube as well. Subscribe there and get notifications. You can also go to patreon.com/Home and Podcast if you'd like to support us for as little as $1 a month. Coming up here, we're going to be doing an episode on a Goofy movie.
Some people settle for the typical thing, living all their life waiting in the
We're going to put on our own Powerline concert, so if you want
It's a single. The whole episode is singing. Forgot to tell you.
Yeah. So if you want access to that, go to patreon.com/homemade-podcast.
For
Other
a
than
friggin' $1.
$1 a month.
Well, yeah, true. $12 if you are committed.
It'd be funny if somebody
If you're
just
not some clown.
paid $1, got her Goofy Movie episode, and got out.
Clown question, bro. Yeah.
All right. Other than that, I don't have much to share. So Adam, I'm sure you've got polls, and I'm sure you want to share them.
Yes, I do have polls, and I want to share them. Before I get to the polls, we talked last week about Disney Plus and Hulu and so on, and you had said that you thought that Hulu was going to house the more adult stuff, but Hulu is pulling Home Improvement in something like 5 days at this point, and people are pretty peeved on Twitter. That's how I found out about it. And I've been looking, and there's no official announcement that it's moving to Disney Plus, but what else could it be, right? I mean, that's the assumption, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't really know. And I was trying to find information about a news story and whatnot, and I didn't find anything either. So, TBD, maybe by the time this comes out, we'll have some more clarity. But, I mean, it makes sense to put it on Disney Plus. Like, if they've got, like, Smart House and all these other TV shows on there.
Are you comparing Disney, or are you comparing Home Improvement to Smart House?
It is another show about something with houses.
I thought Smart House was a movie.
I don't know. But there's a lot of, like... I've never seen it. There's a lot of, like, shows...
Is Smart Guy on Disney Plus?
I want to say I saw it, but I could be wrong.
He's a smart guy.
You want me to find out right now?
I bet they cut the episode where they have a run-in with a pedophile.
They have that episode?
You never seen the episode where they have a run-in with a pedophile and he offers him beer and wants it? Yeah, it's wild.
I gotta say, you talked to me about Smart Guy like I actually watched the show, but I don't really remember anything about it. Yeah, it's on here.
Well, I want you to research and see if they do.
3 seasons. I tell you what, it's just a great picture of a fun family.
Well, as a Milwaukee resident, I gotta support a Milwaukee show like Smart Guy.
She Got Game. That's an episode. The Achy Breaky Heart. Do you remember what the episode was called? Because I want to.
No, we're gonna have to do this off air. Okay. Back to Twitter polls. What's the worst Tim Allen movie? Vote below or tweet alternative options at us. 13% said Christmas with the Cranks, which will be Cranksgiving coming up. So good that people didn't vote that one. That would be sad for us. 19% said For Richer or Poorer. 31% said Wild Hogs. 38% said The Shaggy Dog.
We will not cover that.
There are some comments here. Someone accidentally voted for Wild Hogs, which is their favorite. Well, that stinks. At Thornthought said The Shaggy Dog. Raise the Woof. And Ryan Smith said The Shaggy Dog. I love Tim Allen, but God, what a movie. What would you say is the worst one of those?
I haven't seen Shaggy Dog or Wild Hogs.
Jeez, man. I've seen all of them.
Well, that says a lot about you, I think.
Well, you've seen Morning Glory twice, so get off your high horse.
And it's a better movie than either of those. I think Wild Hogs maybe has some more star power, so it can't be worse, right?
For me, the answer is For Richer or Poorer. Because, like, The Shaggy Dog sucks, but it's a kid's Disney movie. So, like, it's not really the fault of the movie that grown men that like Tim Allen don't get into seeing him turn into a dog. You know, like, that's kind of the movie. That's my opinion.
I love For Richer or Poorer. It was the best movie I've ever seen.
That movie sucks. Which famous director's work does Mark's film most resemble? People don't know much about film, I guess, because this one didn't get much traction. George A. Romero, 0%. Stanley Kubrick, 0%. Rob Zombie, 36%. Alfred Hitchcock, 64%. The correct answer is Rob Zombie. Mark's movie bears no resemblance to Hitchcock. Hitchcock's not even really horror. So
no, it's more suspense.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just because I mentioned him in the last episode. Recency bias.
Yeah. Otherwise, I have a pretty hot poll going on right now about which is the best kind of French fries that I just kind of wanted people to weigh in on. Has nothing to do with Home Improvement, but 5 hours left, so I'm not calling that one. Too tight.
Too tight. Well, we'll be recording soon, so we can talk about that.
Exciting. Otherwise, follow us on Twitter for some fun.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Do you have anything in the mailbag this week?
I don't think so. No. I don't think so. No.
All right. Well, we're going to move on, and we're going to say next week's episode. Are you ready for this?
Yes. I already watched it, so I'm ready.
Wow. All right. Well, do you remember the title?
Jill's Passion.
You're looking at your notes.
It's steamy.
I did see a picture of it, and it could be interesting.
It is. There's a real beefcake in it. It's good. It's unlike anything we've seen.
Except for I and Tim. Maybe?
It's better than it's better than that one. No, well, I don't know. I'll figure all this out next week. Jordan,
All right, sounds good.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, listeners. Thank you for listening, and I guess I should say take care.
Take care, everybody.